சிவா திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். நம பார்வதி பதையே. ஹரஹர மகாதேவா. தென்னாடுடைய சிவனை போற்றி, எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். I take pleasure in worshipping the golden feet of Srilasree Gurumaha Sannidhanam, who holds the 24th Gurubida of Thirukailayaya, Paramparai, Meikanda, Santhanam, Thiruvavaduthurai, Aatheenam, with the grace of Srignana Nadaraja Perumal, Aathina Gurumudalva, Namashivaya Murtigal, and Aathina Kuladevam, Shrimad Madhava Sivagnana Yogigal, with my mind, speech, and body. Today is Chithirai Aayilya. The Thirukailayaya Paramparai, Meikanda, Santhanam, Thiruvavaduthurai, Aatheenam, Shrimad Madhava Sivagnana Swamigal is a star that has attained Siva Paripuranam. The Chithirai Aayilya festival is a day when the Saivotis and the general Tamil poets gather together and celebrate with a festival thought throughout the Tamil country. According to the grace of Srilasree Gurumaha Sannidhanam, special worship, lecturers, and book releases are being held at Vikramasinghapuram, where Swami incarnated, Susindram, where he undertook asceticism, Kanjipuram, where he stayed for many days, Thiruvavaduthurai, where he attained Siva Paripuranam, and Aatheenam branch monastery in Peru. The blessings that Swami has done for Tamil Nadu are immeasurable. Sivagnana Swamigal and his work is the topic we will be discussing today in the Discourse, which is being held online under the divine guidance and blessings of Srilasree Gurumaha Sannidhanam and the occasion of Chithirai Aayilya, Shrimad Madhava Sivagnana Swamigal Gurupoosai 2026. The wealth of knowledge that Swamigal had in all fields such as grammar, literature, logic, translation, bhashyam, and short text was not available to anyone else. The emperor of asceticism, his 12 students were also like that. All the great poets who are making the Tamil language a reality today from all over Tamil Nadu are a student line. And it is not an exaggeration to say that they are a student line. If Tamil poets continue to test the lineage of teachers from whom they took lessons, that lineage will go and be established at the feet of Sivagnana Swamis. This is the wealth of knowledge that has naturally come to the Thiruvavaduthurai Aatheenam. The things necessary for this wealth of knowledge to be established forever and permanently present in the Aatheenam. Swamigal is the greatest of those who have given glory to the Tamil language. He has bestowed many blessings upon Tamil Nadu. Saints like him appear once in 100 years, 200 years, and assure the people of the country who are going to astray and guide them to the right path. Achievement is something that a person does at a young age. He is also notable in the list of those who achieved achievements at a young age, such as Mahakavi Subramanya Bharatiyar, Swami Vivekananda, and Sri Adi Shankara. He has achieved rare achievements at the age of 32 and is blessed by Lord Shiva. He has written 28 books and has achieved a rare achievement. Shrimad Madhava Sivagnana Yogigal, who revealed as Kuldev of Tamil Saivotis and the king of discourse, lived as a Ma-ascetic and was identified as a Dravida Maapadiyakarar with the symbolic language of Dravida. Lord Shiva, who gave us birth, gave us the Tirumurai, Sastras, and Puranas to help us overcome from the sufferings of birth, isn't it? Saiva Siddhanta education is very necessary to appropriate and understand the Tirumurai and Puranas. Understanding the Saiva Siddhanta messages is not that easy. Each Shastra tells us the message in different way. Although the Shastras, the Siddhanta Shastras is in our Tamil language, it was very difficult for us to understand their meaning. Our Swamigal is the blessings that Lord Shiva has given to us to overcome this deficiency. Our Swami is the one who has the honor of being called Bhasyacharya in the line of Samayacharya and Santhanacharya. Our Swami's book is a guide to speak and write clearly and without compromising on the Saiva Siddhanta. We cannot understand the principle shown by our four Samayacharyas. We can understand it only through the words of the other teachers of the scriptures, such as Santhanacharya, Pandara Sastra Acharya, Bhasyacharya, Kumaraguru Swamigal, Thayumana Swamigal and Arunagirinatha. Our Swamigal is the one who has bestowed the scripture discourses in that manner and made the principles of the four Samayacharyas clear to us. Our Swami belongs to the 18th century. The place where he was born and raised is Vikramasinghapuram. It is nearer to the Podigai hill on the way from Tirunelveli to Ambasamudra. When our Swami lived in this town, his name was Mukkalalingar. There is a brief belief that Agastya still lives in Podigai hill, isn't it? The family that received his grace is the family of Anandaputta. His wife's name is Mailammai. The great wealth they gained through the finance is Mukkalalingar. Turandarkum, Tuvadavarkum, Irandarkum, Ilvalvan என்பான் துணை. This is Tirukural. Just as Thiruvalluvar says, there was a family that considered it their duty to feed the devotees and monks. During the region of 10th Gurumaha Sannidhanam, Srilasree Velapadesiga once, when the Thirukailayaya Tampirans were on a pilgrimage, they came to Vikramasinghapuram and saw a 5-year-old child, Mukkalalingar, returning home from school. They realized the child's maturity. The child, seeing the Thiruvavaduthurai sages, bowed down and requested them to come to their houses for food, brought them home and requested their mother to feed them. She too was delighted to see the rare act of the child, who was born through penance and went to sowing the sacks. After which the sages ate and left, Mukkalalingar pleased his mother by singing a verse in praise of her for hospitality to the sages as she pleased. It was the first verse sung by a 5-year-old child of wisdom. Arundhati en ammai அடியவர்கட்கென்றும் திருந்த அமுதளிக்கும் செல்வி பொருந்தவே ஆனந்த கூத்தர் அகமகிழ தொண்டு செய்யும் ஆனந்தவாத மயில். Ananda Kutar, who had gone out, returned home. He heard about the miracles that had occurred. He was overjoyed. He went with Mukkalalingar to the place where the sages of Aatheenam were and worshipped them. Mukkalalingar expressed his desire to his father that he should also go with the great Aatheenam sages. The father was not at all willing to part with the child. However, realizing the maturity of the child he had begotten through penance, he returned home. Mukkalalingar visited the Siva temples along with the Aatheenam sages and reached Susindram in the Chera country. He entered the monastery. He saw the Namachivaya Murti, the supreme head of the Aatheenam. He saw his teacher, Perur Velapadesiga, the Tubidhiya Acharya of Aatheenam. He received the Saiva Sannyasam, Saiva Diksha, and the Diksha name of Sivagnana Yogigal. Perur Sri Velapadesiga preached the Meikanda Sastras and the Pandara Sastras, and immediately after listening to the sermon, Swami thought became clear and sat down, endowed with the complete blessings of true consciousness. Since Swami was incarnated by the grace of the sage Agastya, he easily and completely understood the Sanskrit and Tamil language sastras. Perur Sri Velapadesiga, who was residing in Susindram and giving a diksha to matured souls who sought him, stayed for some time in a town called Rajavillipuram on his way from there to have darshan of his Jnanadesiga. While visiting the Alakiya Kuttar and Sri Akhilandeshwari Ambika Sameda Sri Agniswarar, which is located in the shrine called Chepparipadi, which has a shrine made of copper plates, during his darshan, he asked his students, Madhava Sivagnana Swami, who is the best among the holy assembly, to give him the grace to sing in praise of Mother Akhilandeshwari. And our Swami also bestowed upon him the book Chepparipadi Akhilandeshwari Padikam, which is composed of 10 verses. This is a scripture book in the form of a sutra. This book contains explanation of Saiva Siddhantam philosophical details. This is a book for those who aim to gain a good understanding of the fundamentals of Saiva Siddhanta and its minute techniques. From there, they reached Perur, also known as Adi Sidambaram, in the Kongu country. They stayed there for some time in those days, and one day in the month of Vani, in the Bharani Nakshatra, Peru Shivelapadesigarata in Siva Paripuranam. Our Swami performed the Guru Puja for 10 days and reached Thiruvavaduthurai. During the days when Swami was present in Thiruvavaduthurai, during the reign of the 11th Gurumaha Sannidhanam, Srilasree Pinvelapadesigar, our Swamigal composed Panchakara Desigar Malai in praise of the Aatheenam Guru Mudalva Namashivaya Murtigal. At the end of the night puja of the Sri Namashivaya Murti in Thiruvavaduthurai, every day at the end of the puja, the Aatheenam Oduva Murti would sing the 10 verses of Panchakara Desigar Malai. Sri Gurumaha Sannidhanam would offer 10 Ashtanga Namaskara to the Sri Namashivaya Murti, once for each song. This tradition is still in practice even today. Later, he revised the new commentary on Nannul, the best known work of the literary works, written by Sangar Namachivaya, and composed a grammar commentary to expose the many errors in the grammatical explanation written by Thiruvarur Vaidya Navalar, including the errors in the chapter on letter, chapter on words, etc., and composed a short book called Ilakkana Vilakka Churavali. He also composed a short book called Siddhantham Marabu Kandana Kandanam, which is in the response to the Siddhantham Marabu Kandanam, written by one of the Dharmapura Adinas, which is in response to the short book called Marabu Attavanai or Siddhantham Marabu. That person from Dharmapura Adina was thinking that, by mistake, that formality belongs to Thiruvavaduthurai Adina. And our Swami also composed a short commentary on Sivagnana Bodham and a commentary on Sivagnana Siddhi Subhatkam. Then, after bidding farewell to the Jnana Desiga, the Swami, along with some of his students, undertook a pilgrimage. From Thiruvavaduthurai, they visited Tiruthuruthi, Mayuram, Sidambaram, Kotravankudi, and Tirukalancheli, and visited Sri Malayanana Samanda, Sri UmaBharaty Sivacharya, and Sri Aranamashivaya Desigar, and worshipped many places. Let's look at an interesting incident that occurred that time. In the Thiruvilayadal Purana, there is a poor Brahmin boy named Tharumi. Do you remember? No one can easily forget the Thiruvilayadal movie Tharumi, who landed 1,000 gold, chokka, isn't it? Tharumi is a poor Brahmin boy living in Madurai. His family worshipped the shrine of Chokkanadar in the Meenakshi Amman temple in Madurai. Tharumi has a great desire to touch the holy body of Lord Chokkanadar and perform puja, but only married Brahmins are qualified to touch the holy body of the Lord and perform puja. In those days, if one wanted to get married, the bridegroom's family has to give 1,000 gold coins to the bride's family. If Tharumi wanted to touch the holy body of Lord Chokkanadar and perform puja, he had to be married. 1,000 gold coins were required for marriage. Tharumi prayed Chokkanadar and Chokkanadar performed Thiruvilayadal. The Pandya king announced that 1,000 gold coins would be awarded to the poet who would compose a poem in response to a question. And Lord Siva himself wrote a poem for Tharumi. And the Sangam poet Nakiran asked Tharumi a question on the royal court. And Lord Shiva himself came to the court to answer the question and opened his forehead eyes. Nakiran argued, even if you are Lord Chokkanadar, whom I worship every day, and to open your forehead eye, it is still a crime. And then everything ended happily. That day, Tharumi received 1,000 gold coins. A similar incident occurred in the history of the grace of our Swamis. Once, he had made a pilgrimage to the Tirupadiripuliyur temple. This is the temple where Thirunavukkarasu Perumal was tied to a stone and thrown into the sea, but he came ashore singing Sottunai Vediyan, isn't it? Whenever Swami arrived at the temple, a learned assembly was assembled. In that assembly, a nobleman tied 100 gold coins in a cloth and wrote the last line of a song as Karaira Vitta Mudalva Unnai Yandriyum or Kadiyundamo, and announced that he would reward the person who would complete this song with 100 gold coins. Hearing this, a poor man turned to Swami and requested him to sing that song. The Swami also graciously wrote a song if it were spoken and said that, go and win. The poor man sang the song in the assembly and was delighted to receive the reward. வரையேற விட்டமுதம் சேந்தனிடம் உண்டனை வல்லினம் என்றாலும் வரையேற விட்ட முதலாகுமோ என்னை சித்தென்றுரைக்கின் என்னாம் நரையேற விட்ட முதல்வா கொண்டு நரும் பூலிசை மேவும் கரையேற விட்ட முதல்வா உன்னையன்றியுமோர் கதியுண்டாமோ. This is that song. Then the Swamis left Tirupadiripuliyur and reached Kanjipuram. After reaching the temple, he had darshan of Egambareshwarar, came to Tirukamakottam and had darshan of goddess Kamakshi and stayed in Kanjipuram for some time. At the time, among the many devotees who came to visit him every day, some of the Vaisnavas of the city arrogantly said that the Kamba Ramayana epic was the best in Tamil. Hearing this, the Swami, having taken pity on them, recited the Nandi verse of the Kamba Ramayana. Nandi means auspicious. Nandi verse means auspicious song, a protective verse. The verse Nadiya Purul Kaikudum was a complete discrepancy. Those Vaisnavas who were unable to answer that announcement felt sorry for themselves and praised the Swamis, saying that they had unknowingly deceived themselves. Our Swami also showed mercy and made them happy, and he himself gave an Uttram to that Sangai. Sangai means doubt. Uttram means answer. The book is called Kamba Ramayana Mudal Cheyyat Sangottara Virutti. Sangai plus Uttram plus Virutti. Sangai means doubt or clarification. Uttram means answer. Virutti means explanation. A discussion book that points out about 25 discrepancies, examines them in depth, and proves them they are not really discrepancies, but elegance. At the time, one of the Tiruvannamalai Aadhinathu Pandara Sannidhis, who had come to Kanchipuram on a pilgrimage, asked to our Swami, in the verse, Yennai Ippavathil Sera Vagai Eduthu, in Sivagnana Siddhya. What is the meaning of the word Eduthu? In a way that echoes the exaltation of the Siva Samavada commentary composed by his Aadhinathu Jnana Prakasha Munivar. He asked our Swami. At the time, our Swami wrote a text of Siva Samavada Urai Maruppu for the word Eduthu, and a text called Eduthu Ennum Sollikitta Vairakuppayam, so that no further argument could be made. And he explained that the commentary composed by Jnana Prakasha Munivar for Sivagnana Siddhya was a complete fake, and he wrote a textbook called Siva Samavada Urai Maruppu. Later, he translated the Sanskrit Siddhanta Prakashika, a poetic text, which was bestowed by the Siddhanta Saiva Paramacharya Sarvatvama Sambhu Sivacharya Swamigal, and similarly composed a book in Tamil as a verse. He translated and wrote a book on the Sloka Panchagam, a collection of verse bestowed by the Acharya Sri Haridatta Sivacharya Swamigal, who had appeared in Kanjanur during the time of Chola Maharaja Sivakya, who protested Vaishnavism and, in order to establish Shaivism, sat on an iron tripod that had been tempered in fire and proved in 22 ways that Lord Shiva is the supreme being. Our Gurumaha Sannidhanam releasing this book today on the occasion of Chithirai Aayilya Festival 2026. Swamigal translated the book Sivatveda Vivegam, Siva Tattva Vivegam, which was bestowed by Sri Abhaya Dikshidhar. He has composed a commentary on the grammar book Tolkapiyam, which was bestowed by sage Tolkapiya. Thuranadhumakini, the son of sage Jamadakini, and one of the 51 Idaichanga Pulavas, in order to remove and clarify the doubts in the commentary of the three Ilam Puranar, Sena Varayar, and Nachinarkiniyar. He named it as Sutra Virutti and wrote Bhashyam for the Payiram and the first Sutra of the Tolkapiyam. Then Madhava Sivagnana Swamigal along with his students, left Kanjipuram, visited many places, reached Thiruvavaduthurai, had darshan of Lord Shiva, and at the request of Manali Chinnaya Mudaliyar, stayed there for some time and bestowed blessings. At the time, in order to compose a commentary called Viruthiyurai on the 12 sutras of the Sivagnana Bodha, the Swamigal expressed his desire to deep analyze the Vedas, and Manali Chinnaya Mudaliyar, who was supporting him, called the Brahmins together in one place and told them all the glories of the Swamigal, and finally asked them to stand before Swamigal and recite the Vedas regularly. Then the Brahmins, although not of the caste proper to recite Vedas, could not refuse, as he was completely dedicated sage, and said that if the divine consent of the Supreme Lord Tyagaraja was granted, they would recite it without hindrance. Hearing this, Mudaliya requested the Swamigal, and the Swamis agreed to it. Then, in a certain auspicious day, Chinnaya Mudaliya took the Swamis and the Brahmins and went to the temple, performed special puja to the Tyagaraja Perumal, worshipped him, placed a sandalwood bowl in the shrine of the Lord, and placed the slip with the inscription, recite in it, along with the other 99 unwritten slips in a bowl. When a Brahmin child took one of them and opened it, he saw that it had the inscription, recite. All the Brahmins were amazed and were overjoyed at the Swami's greatness. Then, in the presence of Lord Tyagaraja, the Swami sat in saltate and listened to the Brahmins recited the Vedas in a proper manner. Since the Swami was an Aruttava Chelvar who had been incarnated by the grace of sage Agastya, upon hearing the recitation, the hidden meaning of the Vedas was immediately understood without any hesitation. Later, Madhava Sivagnana Swamigal went to the temple every day and had darshan of Lord Shiva and Uma Devi and stayed there for some time. After Manali Chinnaya Mudaliyar and other devotees followed him and worshipped him and took their leave, he left the place with his students and after visiting the Shiva temples on the way, he reached the city of Tirukanji, where he went to Yegambaram and other temples and worshipped Lord Shiva and taught the Tamil Sivagnana Bodha Mapadiyam. The Siddhanta Sutra Mapadiyam was also completed successfully with the grace of Guru. Then the Swami left there and visited many places on the way, stopped at Thiruvannamalur, went inside the temple and had darshan of the Lord, reached the Paramparai shrine and placed the Sivagnana Bodha Dravida Mapadiya Chuvadi before Lord Vinayagar and had an Adi Saiva perform the Archane, Naivedyam and Deeparadhan and received the divine blessings. Reaching the Thiruvavaduthurai Madalayam, Meikanda Sivam, who was known as the Vijnana Banu, had darshan of Gurumurtam and performed special pujas to him. He placed the Sivagnana Bodha Dravida Mapadiya Tirumudai in front of the Acharya Murti and with love offered the Archane, Naivedyam and Deeparadham and received the divine blessings. From there, he went to Tirutturayur, visited the Gurumurtam of Arunandi Sivacharya Swamigal, performed special puja, placed the Padiyam before the Acharya Murtam and received the divine blessings. From there, he visited many places on the way and reached Thirukailayaya, which is known as Singaravanam. He went to the Brahmapurishwara temple and had Swami Darshan. Visited the Gurumurtam of the Maraigana Sambandha Sivacharya Swamigal, performed special puja, placed the Padiyam before the Acharya Murtam and received the divine blessings. From there, he reached Chidambaram. He went to the temple, had Sitsabaisa Sadar Darshan and performed special puja. He performed puja before Chidambareshwarar and received the divine blessings. He went to Kottavankudi and visited the Gurumurtama, Sri UmaBharaty Sivam, performed a special puja and placed the Padiyam before the Acharya Murtam and got blessings. Visited Arunamashivayar Gurumurtam, had a darshan of the Gurumurtam, offered prayers before him with Padiyam and received the blessings. He left there and visited the places on the way, reached Thiruvavaduthurai and went to the temple to have the darshan of Lord. He came to the Aatheenam Thirumadam and had darshan of Sivaprakasa Vinayagar, Tirumaligai Deva and the Namashivaya Murtis. He placed the Mapadiya Tirumurai in front of those shrines and performed auspicial rituals and received the blessings. He went to Odukkam and saw his Jnanacharya Swamigal and placed Mapadiya Tirumurai in front of the shrine and offered prayers and stood there. The 11th Gurumaha Sannidhanam was Srilasree Pinvelapadesigar, who was pleased with the blessings and gave him the prasadam. After offering prasadam, he invited him to sit near him, greeted him, and chit-chat with him with more and more love. Then the Swami left from there and went to the northern monastery. There he visited the Tuvidi Asriya Shri Tiruchitambala Desigar and joined with his devotees. Then on an auspicious day, in the presence of the Jnana Desigar, the Tiruchitambala Desigar, followers, Saiva scholars, and Vedic Sivagama scholars, Sivagnana Swamis began to read and expound on the Sivagnana Bada Dravida Mapadiyam composed by him. And within few days, he completed it. Jnana Desigar was delighted and said that this Mapadiyam was the one that was completely rightful to Tiruchitambalavar. Everyone who heard it was overjoyed. Then Sivagnana Swamigal took leave of Jnana Desigar and left there, arriving at Kanjipuram, where he taught many students about scriptures and other things. At the time, having decided to perform the Acharya Abhisegam to Ambalavana Thambiran, who had incarnated in the holy city of Kadayanallur in the country of Pandya, and who was the best of his sages, the 11th Gurumaha Sannidhanam sent a manuscript to his disciples and others, indicating the auspicious day of the Acharya Abhishekam. Thus, one of the holy manuscripts sent by Jnana Desigar was to go to the Siddhanta Sutra Dravida Mapadiya Karta Madhava Sivagnana Swami, who was residing in Kanjipuram. As soon as the Swami saw it, he was delighted and left from there. He reached Thiruvavaduthurai with many of his students, worshipped the Namashivaya Murtis and Jnana Desigar and stayed there. Later, the 12th Tiruchitambala Desigar composed the Acharya Abhisegam for Ambalavana Thambiran in the said auspicious day and appointed him as Tuvidi Acharya. At the time, Madhava Sivagnana Swamigal had one of his students, Chidambaranatha, who was an expert in grammar and a keen reader who received Saiva Sannyasam and the 3 kinds of Diksha from Jnana Desigar. After he received Saiva Sannyasam and the 3 kinds of Diksha from the Jnana Desigar, Swamigal took leave of Jnana Desigar and left for Kanji there. He lived with Chidambaranatha Thambiran Swamigal and other students. Meanwhile, a person named Kachiyappa, who had incarnated in the Sivacharya clan at Tirutanigai, and a person named Subramanya, who had incarnated in the Poonudayar Kotram of the Karkatha Velalar clan in the village of Kattumannar Kovil in Chidambaram, attained Paripakkuvam and reached Thiruvavaduthurai and had darshan of Jnana Desigar. At the time, Jnana Desigar, taking pity on them, gave them both a pilgrimage kasayam through Thambiran Swami. Then gave divine order to the Tuvidi Acharya Ambalavana Desigar that Desigar Swami performed Samaya Diksha, Visheda Diksha, and also gave them Mantra Kashayam. At the time, the Sivagnana Swamigal, who was in Kanji, composed a Tirupasuram called Tirutunda Tirunama Kovai. The 5 stotras, including Devaram, are not reciting during the Thiruvavaduthurai Utsavam of the month of Margani. Only one Tirupadigam, Tiruvambavai, in the Tiruvasagam, one of the 12 Tirumurai, is recited during the times of Anmartha and Parartha Shiva Puja. Due to the tradition, the thoughts of those who wish to rise by reciting Tirutunda Tirunamam as an external mantra are not hindered. So, our Swami composed Tirutunda Tirunama Kovai. Then, The Swamis would visit all the Shiva temples in the country and would leave from the and visited the temples there with his students like Ilakkanam Sidambaranatha Thambiran Swamis. At the time, he composed a great deal of poetry on Bada Tirumullai Masala Manishwarar, Paditru Patandadi on Kulatur Someswarar, and Somesan Mudumali Venba, Pillai Tamil on Kulatur Amudambigai, and Ilankata Agadiswarar. Later, after visiting places like Tiruporu, he went to Kanjipuram, visited Kanji, Goddess Kamakshi and Ekambranada, taught his students and stayed there. During that time, he performed Yamaga Andadi and Ananda Kalipe on Egambranada. He also composed a Padiga and Kachi, Padiga and Kachi Ananda Rudresha. At the time, a request of the elders in Kanji, he translated the Kanji Puranam in Sanskrit into Tamil. At the time, two Swamis, Kachiyappa Thambiran Swamigal and Subramaniya Thambiran Swamigal, who had learned all the grammar and literature from Amlavana Desiga Swamigal, who had risen as the Tuvidiya Acharyar at the Sri Panchakara Desiga Aatheenam in Susindram, and had received the Nirvana Diksha and Siddhanta Sastra teachings from the Acharya, and had been well known as Thiruvanukkatondas, had heard from many about the glory of Madhava Sivagnana Swamigal and decided to have darshan of the Swamigal. They obtained permission from the Jnana Sriya and left from the and came to Thiruvavaduthurai, had darshan of the Jnana Mutti Namashivaya Desiga and the Jnana Desiga, Tiruchitambala Desiga, and lived there for some time. Then the two Thambiran Swamis conveyed their views to the Jnana Desiga and took their leave. They soon reached Kanji city and visited the Siddhanta Sutta Dravadiya Master Madhava Sivagnana Swamis. At the time, the Swamis were very pleased to see that the two of them were eager to learn more and explain to them all the subtleties of the Tamil epic Tolkapiyam, the most important of the Siddhanta Sastra, such as the Sivagnana Bodham in detail, and taught them the Sivagnana Bodham Dravida Mapadiyam. When the Swami performed the Kanji Purana that he had translated in an assembly of many poets in Kanji, including his students, many of them objected, saying, it is not appropriate for the Purana to start Tiruchitrambalam without first saying Thiri Ekambam in the greetings to the Lord of this Thalam. The Swami wanted them to understand, so he asked the Odhvamutti of the Thalam to sing the Kanji Devaram. The Odhvamutti started singing Tiruchitrambalam, but the sage Kachiyappa, who was near the Swami, stopped at Odhvamutti and said to the poets, he is not telling Pirudivi Ambalam, as is a customary here, but instead of that starts with Tiruchitrambalam. When asked if this was correct, the poet was impressed and felt that what they had said was wrong. The Purana was also performed smoothly. In the Kanji Puranam, our Swamigal sang a Guru worshipping poem to his Jnanasriya, Peru Sri Velappa Desigar. எவ்வளவு கோட்பட பொருளும் அஞ்சலித்தின் அடக்கி அவற்றியல்பு காட்டி மெய்வகை அஞ்சவத்தையினும் நிற்கும் முறை ஓதுமுறை விளங்க தேற்றி அவ்வெழுத்தின் உள்ளீடும் அறிவித்து சிவபோக தடுத்தினாயே செய்வினையும் கைகொண்ட வேலப்ப தேசிகன் தாள் சென்னி சேர்ப்பான். This is the verse. Later, at the request of his devotees, the Swami had gone to Thirutottikalai Mahanagar. At the time, at the request of Velappa Mudaliyar, Veerappa Mudaliyar, Kumarar Kesava Mudaliyar, who were prominent among the Siva Prabhus in the city, performed the Paditru Pattandadi and Sidambareshwara and the Pillai Tamil on the Senkalanir Vinayakar. Thus, having written many books, many commentaries, and more commentation for the benefits of the world, having taught Tamil grammar and philosophical scriptures to many good students, having developed the southern language to be better than the northern language, having become a finance itself with the Lord, and having attained the state of Nishtai, the caste of salvation, Shrimad Madhava Sivagnana Swamigal, having decided that the time had come for him to attain Siva Paripuranam, having left the Kalaisai with his students, he ascended to Thiruvavaduthurai, having gone to the temple and had darshan of the Swami. Having ascended to his monastery, having darshan of Siva Prakasha Vinayagar, Tirumaligai Deva, and in Amashivaya Murtis, the supreme Acharya of the Aatheenam, having gone through the Odikam, having darshan of the Jnana Desiga, the Tiruchitambala Desiga, and having returned to the Northern Monastery, Swamigal came and lived with the devotees and their students. Thus, for some time, the Swami served the Gurulinga Sangamam on the 18th day of the month of Chithirai, Sunday, in the Viswasbasu year of the Salibhagana era, 1708, he attained Siva Paripuranam. Let's look at a poem of Swami Siva Paripurana auspicious day. Mannum Bisubavasu Varuda made a madi, Nunni Ravi Naatpagalo Aayiliyam, Pannum Thiruvalan Yenkon, Sivagnana Devan Tirumeni Ningadinam. Just as sage Agastya taught the Vedas to 12 students, Sri Madhava Sivagnana Swamigal, the Siddhanta Sutra Dravida Maapadiya Karta, taught the truths to the Siddhanta Sutra to 12 students, including Ilakkanam Sidambaranatha Thambiran Swamigal, Kachiyappa Thambiran Swamigal, Thottikali Subramaniya Thambiran Swamigal, Kanchipuram Sivapattar, Saravanabattar, Ramanathapuram Somasundaram. Now, let's look at a couple of interesting events that occurred in the history of the grace of the Swamis. Once, the Swami went to have food with other sage at the Thiruvavaduthurai mat. The food in the mat was very stale. Imagine it was like a glue. All the sages were sitting. The food was being served. The sage looking at each other, afraid to eat the food. That was like glue. They were looking at the leaves nearby, wondering if they were the only one who had been served such food. Seeing this, one of the sages started singing, Kungar Bandu Pungi Gitta Kulaya Rissi Chottinai. The next sage in the line also sang, Samgamangal Kudi Bandu Sapidattu Ninda Pin. The next sage in the line sang one by one, and finally the Swamis finished singing, Engal Pavam, Engal Pavam, Engal Pavam Isane. That song, Kongar Bandu Pungi Gitta Kulayarisi Chottinai, Sangamangal Kudi Bandu Sapida Tuninda Pin. Angumingu Parpadanal, Avadanna Kariyam, Engal Pavam, Engal Pavam, Engal Pavam Isane. It is rumored that after this incident, the monastery changed the cook. Those who serve the Swamis in the monastery are called Panividai. Whenever a Swami's Panividai serve food to the Swamis eat the food with a beautiful smile. Every time, that beautiful smile is the only thing that is visible on Swami's face. He eats the food served with a single smile without eating too much because the food is good, or rejecting it because it is not good. There is only one concern for that Panividai. The worry is that we do not know whether the Swamis like the food we cook or not. If we know what food he likes, we should cook it appropriately. Then they have their own concerns, isn't it? It became his habit to go to the Swamis every day to asking, but return without asking, without having the courage. One day, he got up the courage and asked the Swamis, Swami, do you like the food that I cook? If I know what you like, I will cook it appropriately and serve it. He didn't know that our Swami was beyond all that. Our Swami, who had compassion for him, composed a solo song for him and gave it to him. The delicious song, Satre Thuvayal Arai. Thambi, ஒரு பச்சடி வை, வற்றல் ஏதேனும் வறுத்து வை, குற்றமில்லை காயமிட்டு கீரை கடை, கம்மெனவே மிளகு காயரைத்து வைப்பாய் கறி. After that, Panividai did his job well with a cheerful disposition. The books bestowed by Sivagnana Swamigal have enriched the Tamil language and the Saivism. Anyone who wants to become an expert in the Tamil language or Saiva Siddhanta cannot do so without the help of the books bestowed by our Swami. No one after him has given us such blessings as he has given us. Without the books of our Swami, which are the beacons of explanation of the Saivism truths, no one can clearly understand the truths of Saivism. In particular, without the help of the Sivagnana Padiyam, which is the crown jewel of all the books, it is impossible to understand the subtleties and ultimate truth of Saiva Siddhanta. It is a fact that we should remember that he who is prized as a Kuldev of Thiruvavaduthurai Aatheenam is the Kuldev of all Saivas. Among the books written by the Swamis, the best are the Tolkapiya Sutra Vritti, a treatise on grammar, the Kanji Puranam, a treatise on literature, and the Sivagnana Bodha Dravida Mapadiya, a great treatise on Saivism. Out of these 28 works, 3 related to grammar, 15 to literature, 6 to Saiva Siddhantam, and 1 to logic. He also translated 3 Sanskrit works into Tamil. From the 15th century onwards, many commentators appeared to explain the field of Saiva ideology. Notably, among them were Pandi Perumal, Maraingana Samantha Desigar, Niramba Alakiya Desigar, Jnana Prakasa, Vellayambalavana Munivar, Sivagnana Yogis, and Madhava Sivagnana. Madhava Sivagnana Swamigal, who was later in time than all these commentators, is considered to be the greatest authority to the world of Saiva Siddhanta. If you want to resolve any doubts that arise in the meaning of Siddhanta and find clarity, we should seek Swamis. Just as the Vedanta Sutra in the Northern language was composed by Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhava, and Meikanda, the Sivagnana Bodham in Tamil was composed by Sivagnana Swami. It is called Dravida Mapadiyan. It was composed with a sophisticated technique incorporating the Sivagamas and the Upanishad. The Sivagnana Bodham, bestowed by Sri Meikanda Devanayanar, contains all the meanings of the books of knowledge, explains their principles, and conveys the interconnectedness of truth. It is astronomically short, clear, and crisp. With a broad basic aim, it makes the learner's consciousness penetrate the nature of the objects without focusing on discussion about words. Sivagnana Mapadiyam is a book of wisdom that understands the purpose and direction of such a high book of wisdom and explains the subtle material that lies within. The 2 books considered to be the first book on the tradition of Indian philosophy are the Vedas and the Sivagamas. Of this, the Vedas have 2 major divisions, namely the Karma Kanda and the Jnana Kanda. Similarly, each Sivagamam has 4 divisions, namely the Jnana Padam, the Yoga Padam, the Kriya Padam, and Sariya Padam. In order to remove the doubts that arise regarding Karma Kanda in Vedas and provide clarity, the book that studied and concluded its meaning is called the Mimamsai or Purva Mimamsai. This was composed by a sage named Saimini. The Jnana Kanda of the Veda is known as the Vedanta and the Upanishad. The book that studies and concludes the meaning is called the Brahma Sutra or the Vedanta Sutra. The author of the Vedanta Sutra was Vaishya Muni or Vadanarayana. From now on, the Sariya, Kriya, Yoga Padam in the Agamams can be summarized as the Karma Kanda. The Jnana Pada can be referred to as Jnana Kanda. The book that examines the correctness of the Agama and the materiality of the Kriya Yoga Padas are called Pattadikas. They are like a Kriya Kanda Gramavali written by Somasamba Sivacharya. Pattadi means path. The most common conclusion in the case now is the Agora Siva Pattadi. The research on the Jnanapada, meaning of Sivagamas, was taken from Sivagnana Bodham, says Sivagnana Muni. The Sivagnana Jnanapada contains only the clear meaning of Vedanta, and therefore Swami claims that the research on that meaning was done by Lord Shiva himself, not by other sages. Therefore, the Swami says that the conclusion of the Sivagnana Bodham are undisputedly and stand as a doctrinal final conclusion that cannot be refuted by other books. The Swami says that the Sivagnana Bodham contains the meaning of that Lord Shiva revealed to Lord Nandi. Sivagnana Swami has blessed the world of Tamil Saivism with two commentaries for the Sivagnana Bodham, one called the Chithirai and the other called Mapadiyam, the Great Bhashya. Therefore, our Swami is acclaimed as the official interpreter of Saiva Siddhantham. Our Swamigal took the 39 divisions of the Sivagnana Bodham and placed them in a form of syllaxis, giving the entire work a seriated logical sequence. Syllogism is a method of drawing a logical conclusion from two given premises. One on these is structured his Bhashya. Before commencing his explanation, he took to the refuting of the outermost religions such as Lokayita, the fourfold Buddhism and Jainism, the outer religions, and the inner outer schools. Our Swamigal had employed the acknowledged classical style of the Bhashyacharyas. This involves the devoting of the whole section to the theme and arranging the sections systematically. The sections called Adhikaranas are factorized in the following order. Number 1, theme, that is called Vaishya. Number 2, questioning the theme, Samsaya. Number 3, prima facie view, that means Purva Paksha. And number 4, answers to the objection of Purva Paksha, that is Siddhanta. Number 5, interconnection of the section, that is Sangati. Some scriptural texts are intended as a subject matter for the theme. These are known as Vaisya-Vakya. Our Swamigal's knowledge is encyclopedic. He is master of logic. He is a born champion of Tamil Saivism, and his commentary is a living monument of his faith. Let's look at the essence of Mapadiyam of Sivagnana Swami. He emphasizes that the soul consciousness is the evidence and that the rules stated by others are not true rules unless they are stated as by flattery. He emphasized that the path is not contradictory to the Agama rules and that the path is essential for contemplating Agama matters and realizing their hardness and softness. Refuted the Ulagayidar, Nimamjigar, Buddhist, Jains, Sangyas, etc., and established that the world is an internal matter, a material thing, and that a supreme God is needed to make it work, and that the supreme God is Lord Shiva, the God of distraction, thus clarifying the inner meaning of Meikanda. Since there is a great deal of disagreement among Vedic scholars regarding the term Advaitam, Swamigal has refuted them and explained its true meaning as per Meikanda. He has clarified the ideological meaning of Sat and Asat. He refuted the contradictory theories about the souls by Arugadar, Sanghiya, Nayayikar, Pancharatri, etc., and explained the general and special nature of soul in Saivatic way. Reciting the doctrine of the Mayavadis, who claim that Maya is an inanimate object and that the world is non-existent, and establishing that Maya is an instinct object and the world is the real object, and clarifying the grammar's attribute to Maya in Siddhanta. Swami's ideas are excellent contributions to Siddhanta tradition. He has extensively examined and explained the origin of the 36 tattvas, 5, 7, and 24, which are the Shiva tattvas to Prithvi tattvas. He has examined them on the basis of providing the truth of such tattvas, giving a grammatical definition for each tattvas, indicating the reason for the names of the tattvas, and rejecting other religious views at appropriate places. In the field of truth, he has explained the principles of duality, Malaparibhagam, Sattinibadam, Pasupunniyam, and Sivapunniyam. Swami has subtly illustrated 10-step method of conveying wisdom in Rasagaryam. We can enjoy the mastery of explaining the truths of Saiva ideology from beginning to end without any contradictions. Our Swamis were wizard with words. he could use them with telling effect. He was a great grammarian. In his exposition, the rules of grammar were woven on his side. He was always circumspect. He could never be caught unawareness. It is qualities as these that went into making the Swami's Bhashya. Our Swami Sivagnana Chithirai serves as a manual of Saiva Siddhantham. Our Swami's Sivagnana Chithirai serves as a manual of Saiva Siddhantham. Then next, Kanchi Purana. A Purana translated from Sanskrit. The way Sivagnana Swamigal has structured this book is very admirable. First, he beautifully presents the country part and city part. Then he narrates the historical events, starting from the Thiruneri Karaikadu, and in the eastern direction, and proceeding into the right. Finally, he tells the story of Thiru the story of how Lord's holy body melted, showed the Lord to worship the goddess and embrace him, bearing the flood. Then he tells about the marriage, and after that, he explains the miracle of Kanchi, and then he explains the virtue of standing on the path to eliminate the benefits of listen to the Kanchi Purana. And he concludes by saying that the benefit of that virtue and the meaning to attain the Lord's feet or one is Shiva's merits. He creates a separate chapter for each place and describes the places with a brief history in a couple of verses on the chapter of the place with the most extensive history that is located near to them. In this Purana, he has embedded many rare ideas here and there, so that it seems that there is no vacuum anywhere. It is a chapter in small. If a chapter is small, it contains a very important meaning. For example, in the 13th verse, Sattadana chapter, he explains the nature of Pasudharma and the Sivadharma. In the 7th verse, Panadarisa chapter, he explains that being with wives is the only worship, worthy worship. And in the 11th verse, Murari Kota chapter, he explains the nature of the Ubhayacharya and Brahmacharya. He has filled this Purana with the rare ideas, Sivagama contents, and Saiva methods that he found in the Upanishad and Puranas in a vernacular. He had translated many Upanishads and Purana verses to explain their true meaning and has given the roots and meaning of many vernacular words. He has also explained the meaning of some mantras. He clearly explained the Saiva ideology ideas through simple illustrations. Just as the Periya Purana is essential for understanding the meaning of the Tirumurais, similarly, the Kanchi Purana is essential for everyone to easily understand the meaning of the Meikanda text and find the true meaning of the Upanishad and other Sanskrit text. And then, Chapparipadiya Aklanteshwari Padigam. This Padigam is sang and blessed by the Swami in a way that reflects all the great resources of Saiva Siddhanta wisdom that he received from his Guru, Peru Sri Velapade Desigar. The fact that this Padigam has been composed in a way that is full of Shaiva Siddhanta fundamental to the most subtle concepts in a wonderful act that will bring great benefit to the Saiva world. It is sweet and tender, suitable for memorizing and singing in the presence of the goddess. In this poem, he beautifully explained many rare philosophical concepts such as the stages of Kevalam, Sagalam, and Sutam. The state of the soul in each stages, the way in which the soul rises from one stage to another by the grace of God, the elements of the action of Sanjidam, Praratham, and Agamiyam, various religions that deviate from the path of God, a deep study and the lust of soul for the body, the existence of Siva, and the true that the salvation of Saivism is the ultimate salvation. The next one, Siva Tattva Vivekam. Sri Abhay Dikshitar composed a book called Sigarani Mala in Sanskrit. This book, it explains the Siva Paratva very well. Siva Paratva very well. Was translated into Tamil by Swamis as Siva Tattva Vivekam. The way in which the 4 Sanskrit Vedas explain the Sivaparatva can be clearly seen in this book. The concept of Lord Shiva, Supreme Being, is well embodied in the Tirumurai, Meikanda Sastras, Puranas, and Sivagamas. Although different deities are praised in the Veda, which are the source of all this, Lord Shiva is praised as a supreme being above all others. The way this book presents the great qualities of Lord Shiva, categorizing them into 3: the case of bliss, the pure nature, the perfect consciousness, is commendable and enjoyable. The next one, Siddhanta Prakasikai. Siddhanta Prakasikai is the essential book for students and teachers of Siddhanta. It was written in Sanskrit by Sarvatvama Sambhu Sivacharya. This book contains more Sanskrit vocabulary than the scriptures of the Swami. So, this book will help in developing knowledge in Sanskrit vocabulary related to Siddhanta. This book explains many things that a person who is about to start learning Saiva Siddhanta searches the tattvas and their origin. The description of the tattvas, the difference in diksha, the types of sastras, the things that said in them, the special features of Sivagama, etc. After that, Andadi Ilakkiyangal. Swami has bestowed upon us 5 Andadi literature. They are Thirumullaivayil Andadi, Thiri Ekamba Andadi, Kalasai Padittu Pattandadi, Ilasai Padittu Pattandadi, and Kulattur Padittu Pattandadi. These 3 of these books belong to Padittu Pattandadi category. Kalasai Padittu Pattandadi, Ilasai Padittu Pattandadi, and Kulattur Padittu Pattandadi. One of the other 2 Andadi is Thirubandadi. It is Vada Thirumullaivayil Andadi. Many songs in it are Yamagam. The other is Thiri Egamba Andadi. Everything in it is Yamagam. When we hear the word Padittu Pattu, we think of Sangam literary work Padittu Pattu. Padittu Pattu is a collection of 10 poems, 10 in number, totaling 100 poems. Each poem in Sangam literary work Padittu Pattu is sung by different poets and each hierarchy. However, the Padittu Pattandadi literature bestowed by Sivagnana Swamigal are sang about Lord Shiva at each specific place. To indicate this, we can see the names of the temples like Kalasai, Ilasai, and Kulattur appearing together with the names of the group. The next one, Kache Anantarudreshwarar Padigam. Anantarudresham is one of the many temples in Kanjima city. The one of the students of the Swami, Saravanapatta, lived near the temple. During his visit to Lord of the temple, our Swami bestowed the Kache Anantarudreshwarar Padigam to instruct future generation about the divine experience he had seen. Anantarudresham, the Lord who was established and worshipped by one of the Rudras of the Punapadi. It means the Lord who increases happiness. This Padigam indicates that whoever worships Kache Anantarudresham, no matter what is his nature is, will be free from sins and will attain the benefits of the world and the next. Finally, Shri Panchakra Desika Malai. These songs are recited during the night pujas, which are the main function of the Aatheenam. They consist of 10 verses. These verses are guiding us to follow the path of Saivism, praising Guru, and rise with the grace of Guru. The books composed by the Swamis are the part of learning this Sivagnana Mapadiyam that he composed. The benefit of learning the Sivagnana Mapadiyam is to recite this Panchakra Desika Malai, saying, Thiruvennai Meikanda Deve Panchakra Desikane, and worship of our prime Guru Namashivaya Murti. It is a fact that those who study the Sivagnana Padiyam will benefit from studying Vedic, Vedanta, Agamas, Vedanta Sutras, Sutra Padiyam, etc., without having to study them, says TDK. Sivagnana Swami's Gurumurtam is a place of work for Saivutis. An old painting of our Swamis adorns the wall of the Aatheenam. In the painting, the image of the Swami is seen standing with the rosary in his right hand, the Sivagama Bodham, Sivagnana Bodham in his left hand, a Rudraksha in his head and hands, and a traditional Aathena attire with a beautiful, peaceful face. The words referring to this picture are Sivamayam. This is the sacred picture of Sivagnana Yogigal. The Dravida Mahabhashyakara, who emerging as the Kuldev of the Aatheenam, has eternalized the immense wealth of the spiritual learning through the Sivagnana Bhashya that illuminates the divine grace of Sri Panchakra Desikara of Thirukailayaya Paramparai. No scholar in any quarter of the globe has ever earned a distinction matching our Swamis. In all humility, we affirm that our Swami is not only the Kuldev of Thiruvavaduthurai Aatheenam, but the Kuldev of every true Saiva. I conclude our today's discussion now by worshipping and rejoicing at the golden feet of Srilasree Gurumaha Sannidhanam, who have given me the privilege of contemplating and rejoicing in Sivagnana Swamigal and his work. Chithirai.